Welcome to United Network News, the official news channel for CARE, the Center for Amity and Restoration of Earth. I'm Sunny Galt. At UNN, you get the real news. Through our field messengers, we show you the truth about what's really taking place in our communities. We also bring you stories to help you remember who you are and why you're here, as well as regional stories that impact the people. And our World Situation Report reveals what's happening throughout the multiverse. We are here to restore Earth. In the U.S., it is Friday, April 12, 2024. We're headed to Spain to learn more about the Moringa tree, or miracle tree, known for its natural vitamins and nutrients. We'll show you one way to incorporate it into your everyday food. And it's springtime in Canada. The sun is shining and nature is beginning to bloom once again. Do you love your job, or would you rather do something else? We've got some tips on how to gain clarity on the type of work best suited for you. Counterfeit royal stamps are everywhere in Great Britain. Find out which country is responsible. The highly anticipated Tesla Cybertruck made a big splash when it hit the market, but this electric vehicle has been plagued with problems, and the complaints are rolling in.
This is Calen, messenger for United Network News. Here's a look at today's field messenger reports from all around the world. The Moringa tree, also known as the miracle tree, is packed with nutrients in its leaves, seeds, and oil. It offers health benefits like antioxidants, anti-inflammatory effects, and essential nutrients for overall well-being. UNN Field Messenger Emma shows us how she prepares moringa leaf powder.
Hi, this is Emma reporting for UNN from Fuerteventura. This time I'm reporting from our garden, and right behind me we have a moringa tree. I believe it came from Africa because it's very common in Africa. They call it never die, and it's because it has like a lump root that contains water whenever there is water. So it's very popular among the birds. They love it, and it's also called the vitamin tree. These are moringa leaves from the garden that I have dried, and now can you see? This is dried moringa leaves, and I put them into coffee grinder, put the lid on, and then they turned into powder, same as I have here. And I put the powder like this, and this is what it looks like, turned into a fine powder. I then put it into a tight container, a jar, like this. And then I have moringa powder that I can put into my smoothies, my food, even my coffee. And it's called the vitamin tree. So this moringa has all the vitamins that you need. So thank you for watching.
As spring gently arrives in Alberta, it melts away the icy hold of winter on rivers and landscapes alike. UNN Field Messenger Steve enjoys a sunny spring day and shares this time of renewal.
Good day, Steve McGrath here, Fort McMurray, Alberta, with another short field messenger report about springtime. And it's coming in like a whirlwind. It's starting to melt down here. It's starting to look real good. This is spring here in Alberta. Sunny and a little bit of snow, a little bit of ice. The trees and the plants are coming back. And we still got frozen creeks over here. Show you. We've got the dogs running around, and It's a lovely time of year. And over here by the Horse River, you can see the bushes here are almost coming into bloom. The river's pretty frozen still, but there's water on top and melting down. Some of the trees are starting to show buds. This is down by the Horse River. Here's some of the old buildings in Heritage Village. And this is a new trail along the Horse Creek. You can see we've still got quite a bit of snow here, but the sun's coming on today and dogs going crazy. Trees are loving it. Good times.
We want you to become a UNN field messenger. These are everyday people just like you who want to make a difference in their community. You don't need any special training or equipment. Just use the camera on your mobile phone and show us what's happening in your area. You send us your videos and our production team will create the report for you. Our new website is now up and running at unitednetwork.earth. You can submit your Field Messenger reports directly through the Field Messenger tab at the top of the page. You can also email your reports to our new email address at fieldmessenger@unitednetwork.earth.
Hey, I'm Kirsten from Switzerland.
This is Wayne from Tucson.
Hi, my name is Desmond from Ghana.
I am Claudia from Dawsonville, Georgia.
I'm Marty from Pretoria, South Africa.
Hi, I'm Steve McGrath, Fort McMurray, Alberta, Canada.
People from all around the world are coming together.
Happy day, beautiful world. We are here in a rather small urban garden, and this video is just to show you the joys that we've had in this garden with electric gardening.
When news happens in their area, they show us what's really going on.
We have people in the streets protesting for and against.
At United Network News, our field messengers are changing the face of news.
This is Field Messenger Helen reporting with nature, and I'm going to talk to you about the bees again.
Take the next step in restoring our planet. Become a UNN field messenger today.
Hi, I'm Stephanie from South Africa. If it's going to be, it's up to me.
If it's going to be, it's up to me.
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 It's up to all of us. We're UNN, and we're taking back the news.
Is the job you have right now something you're passionate about? Does it utilize your talents and allow you to feel a true sense of accomplishment? People who follow their heart and do the things they love will thrive in the new earth. How can you gain more clarity if you're not sure what that looks like in your own life? Grace Gravestock is a transformation maverick. She's on a mission to redefine success and fulfillment, allowing people to resonate at their highest frequency. So we've talked before about this being an important time where anything's really possible. And whatever you did before, for your job, for work, that could all be changing. And so part of this whole process is getting clarity, right, Grace, on what you're going to be doing, because you may be good at a lot of things, or maybe you need to tweak things a little bit. So how do we get clarity on whatever our next move is?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked, Sunny. That's such a great question. I find that a lot of my coaching clients over the last 6 years, it is the number one question I get, because I say, well, what do you want? And people mostly say, I don't know.
Because we're not wired that way. We're wired for survival, right? We're not wired to think I could do what I want to do. What do you mean?
Right. It's such a new concept for most people. But the good news is that I have found is that we are powerful creator beings, and that we can use gratitude to intentionally create the life we want. So I'm going to share with you a practice that I use every day, and it's one of the secrets that I teach in my coaching programs. activateyourlifepurpose.com is where you can get a video of it for free, and I'll walk you through the details, but I'm going to give you the 411 on it real quick because it's so powerful and it's so easy. So here's what you need. You need 5 minutes a day minimum and a pen and paper. A lot of people ask me, can you do it on a computer? Can you do it on an app? Sure. Do whatever, just do it. But I find that you get the best results with a good old fashioned pen and paper. So to get clarity on your next step, what you want to do is what I call my 2-step gratitude practice. And it starts like this. You write on the piece of paper. I like to use a spiral notebook because it's easier to write in every day, and you can keep track of it and see your results. I'm so happy and grateful that. And then you fill in the blanks, 1, 2, 3. Leave yourself space to at least write 3 things. And what you want to fill that in with is things that you're genuinely happy and grateful for right now. And so I like to think back, like in the last 24 hours, what happened that I really enjoyed? What put me in joy? Get it? In joy, in joy. So when I think back in my last 24 hours, most of the time I'll notice that what really made me feel so good was a connection with people. And so I'll think about the people that I had great conversations with, for instance, or the way that it made me feel, or affection with loved ones, or whatever it is. But what I want you to write down is what you genuinely appreciated and why. So it's really important. So for instance, if you said, I am so happy and grateful that I have time alone every day to just be with myself, maybe to meditate or have quiet time. Why is that important to you? So I want you to write that down. Write 3 things about what's happened to you, maybe in the last 24 hours. It could be in the last week, could be in the last 2 hours, but the 3 things you're genuinely happy and grateful for. Now that sounds like a regular gratitude practice, right? And a lot of people teach that, and it's all really good because it helps us get into a state of gratitude. Yes. But when we want to get clarity on our next steps, what we want to do is to see the patterns. So then the second part is, it sounds the same, so pay attention. I'm so happy and grateful that, and again, we're going to fill in the blanks with at least 3 things, but this time we're going to write what we don't yet have, that we want to have, that we can feel grateful for now, as if it's already here. So each of those are important, and I'm going to explain why. So I'm so happy and grateful that. This is the part where we're intentionally creating our next steps. And so if you don't know what you want to put in there, this is where you look back on the pattern that has started to come through if you've been doing this for a few days. And you say, wow, I really, like for me, I noticed when I first started doing this, I love connecting with people. I love having deep conversations. And so so what I want to create then is more of that. So then I would say, and here's my favorite story to share, when I first did this and I got a job, my dream job, and, I started it in less than a month. And so I wrote 4 things. This is the part where I wrote it. So I wrote, I'm so happy and grateful that I work with leaders that I respect and can learn from. I'm so happy and grateful that I can do work in my core competency areas of change management and communications. I'm so happy and grateful that I get paid to travel. And I'm so happy and grateful that I work with people that I like and they like me. So all those things, right? It's important, but you could tell probably by listening what my problems were in my last situation, right? But I wrote those things down, and within a week, as soon as I got clarity, and here's the funny part that I want to highlight. So when I wrote, I get paid to travel, I was like, well, how much do I want to travel? And so the first day that I wrote it, I wrote, okay, 50%. And then I kid you not, the very next day, somebody called me and they said, saw your information on LinkedIn and they told me about this job. It sounded exactly like what I had written. I mean, it fit all the criteria. And she said, but here's the thing, it's 50% travel. Is that okay with you? And I'm like, oh gosh, that feels like too much. So I went back to my gratitude journal that night and I wrote differently. I'm like, so happy and grateful that all the same things, but I'm so happy and grateful it's 30% travel. I get paid to travel 30%. The very next day, same thing happened, different person. And they literally said to me, word for word, but this requires 30% travel. Are you okay with that? So I did the math and I'm like, 30%, that's still a little bit more than I want. So I said 20% because I really just want one short trip a month. That would be great. So as soon as I got to 20%, I felt this calm inside me and this peace. And boom, as soon as that happened, and I was writing this for 4 days, 4 days straight, I wrote this with variations. And once I did that, boom, I started this process that got me what was then my dream job. And it was amazing. So that's the process, 5 to 10 minutes a day. Repeat, just repeat that every day, and you will get clarity, because every time you write it, you're kind of recommitting. Is this really what I want? And when you start to write the same thing over and over, you know for sure that you have something you want, and you'll start to see it showing up. You'll see something in your see it, something you can see, smell, taste, touch, or hear, usually, that will be something for you to respond to, which is directly related to what you said you wanted. It's so amazing how it works. So activateyourlifepurpose.com is where you can get the full practice for free.
Yeah, I mean, and it's an exercise in manifestation, really, is what you're doing. You're bringing it forth, right? So from your, your mind, your brain, your consciousness, and then really telling the universe what you want.
Yes.
Happening.
And you're connecting it with your heart and the emotions. It's really a key part. Feeling it as if you already have it. Each of those pieces are really important.
Lavender oil is renowned for its soothing aroma and its multitude of benefits for both the mind and body. This natural elixir, distilled from the beautiful lavender plant, has earned its place in the realm of traditional, complementary, and alternative medicines. Lavender oil is celebrated for its potent ability to alleviate stress, soothe chronic pain, and enhance mood. This makes an ideal companion for individuals seeking natural remedies. Its properties extend beyond mental and emotional relief, promoting better sleep and strengthening the immune system. For those exploring the aromatic world of essential oils, lavender oil serves as an excellent starting point due to its gentleness and broad range of applications. From being a delightful natural perfume to acting as a non-toxic air freshener, lavender oil enriches lives. It even finds its ways into culinary endeavors, adding a unique flavor to various dishes. Lavender essential oil truly enriches the wellness landscape, offering a harmonious balance between body and mind. Maple syrup is much more than a delicious topping for pancakes. It's a health powerhouse. Research reveals that maple syrup can significantly boost health, fighting antibiotic resistance, cancer, and aiding digestive health while supplying vital nutrients. A groundbreaking study found that maple syrup extracts can make common antibiotics more effective, potentially reducing medication doses by up to 90%. This discovery holds promise in battling antibiotic-resistant superbugs. Maple syrup's antioxidants are also shown to inhibit some cancer cell growth, highlighting its potential in preventing gastrointestinal cancers. For those with digestive issues or seeking healthier sweetener options, maple syrup is a nutritious alternative to refined sugars, rich in immune-boosting zinc and manganese. Offering a host of health benefits, maple syrup stands out as not merely a sweet treat, but a valuable contributor to a balanced diet and a natural way to enhance overall well-being. A Canadian company called Flash Forest intends to plant 1 billion trees by 2028 using aerial drones. Two brothers started the company after seeing their hometown of Kelowna, British Columbia, experience a devastating fire. The aerial drones shoot seed pods at high velocity into the ground to embed the seeds deep in the soil. These drones can rapidly plant about 5 pods per second and cover a lot of ground in just minutes. They are planting a variety of pine, spruce, and fir in fire-damaged areas all over Canada to ensure richly biodiverse landscapes. In their first year in the spring of 2021, the team planted more than 300,000 seed pods. Their ambitions remain high. It appears now that aerial tree planting is quickly becoming a viable method for reforestation. We are United Network News. Every day, we release real stories from real people all over the world.
Field Messenger reporting from Gold Coast, Australia,
Denmark,
Canada, Uganda,
from Atlanta, in Southern California.
In their own words, people like you share what's really happening in their area. At UNN, you are the news. You are creating a new world with infinite possibilities. You are the restoration plan. Come join us for the real news every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, only on United Network. We're UNN, and we're taking back the news. The European Parliament has passed a significant reform to the EU's asylum and migration rules, ending nearly a decade of debate. The new pact aims to streamline the process of who is responsible for migrants and asylum seekers upon their arrival, introducing a system of mandatory solidarity amongst member states. However, the reform has sparked controversy, with protests erupting outside the parliament and rights groups criticizing the measures. Critics argue the pact could undermine the individual right to seek asylum, with the creation of EU border facilities for processing and potentially returning ineligible asylum seekers. This raises worries about the undermining of the right to seek asylum and the possibility of resulting in violations of human rights. The EU member states must now ratify the pact for it to become law. The UK passport prices are increasing for the second time in just more than a year, affecting millions who plan to renew their travel documents. Starting Thursday, adult online application fees will jump by 7%, marking a significant rise following last year's 9% increase. Children's passport fees are also jumping up, affecting families planning to travel. This escalation in fees places the UK passport amongst the most expensive in Europe, surprising many people. UK travelers also face new post-Brexit challenges, including passport expiration restrictions. The Home Office claims the fee increases are necessary for maintaining the standard of passport services, but for many, the changes represent a growing challenge for international travel. Counterfeit Royal Mail stamps from China are causing significant issues for British consumers and small retailers. The fakes are reportedly produced by 4 Chinese suppliers capable of manufacturing up to 1 million stamps weekly. These counterfeit stamps have been found on major online platforms like Amazon and eBay, and also on sites mimicking the Royal Mail's official store. Affected consumers and small businesses permitted to buy stamps from wholesalers find themselves caught in the crossfire, facing fines and scrutiny for a problem originating far beyond their control. Royal Mail is actively working to eliminate these fakes, collaborating with retailers and law enforcement to monitor online sales and recover counterfeit stamps. The Chinese embassy in London has dismissed these allegations as absurd, urging a thorough investigation of the internal supply chain rather than media speculation. The Swiss government has announced measures to strengthen its banking regulations after the near collapse of Credit Suisse, now taken over by UBS. The measures aim to shield taxpayers and secure the nation's economy, particularly addressing the need for enhanced liquidity and tighter control on bankers' bonuses. This response comes after a detailed review exposed significant regulatory shortcomings, triggering the development of 22 new measures. These reforms are supposed to mitigate the risk of banking failure, protect individuals' financial stability, and maintain Switzerland's integrity as a global financial hub. The proposed changes include giving the financial regulator, FINMA, greater authority, including imposing fines for misconduct, a measure long demanded by critics. Scotland's government has announced key changes to its tax system, aiming for a progressive approach. Starting this month, Scotland will add an extra income tax band increasing the total to 6 to have higher earners contribute more to public services. This change, however, has sparked confusion amongst taxpayers, especially since Scottish taxpayers still adhere to UK rates for savings and dividend income, complicating tax calculations further. Although the system intends to be fairer, with lower earners paying less tax than those in the rest of the UK, the savings are minor. Critics believe the system's complexity could be reduced to improve taxpayer understanding. There are calls for better education and communication to reduce confusion and improve taxpayer understanding. In Georgia, thousands are protesting against a controversial bill that would allow closer monitoring of non-governmental organizations and the media, fearing it would limit freedoms. Dubbed the Russian law for its similarity to Russian legislation, the proposed law demands that groups with more than 20% foreign funding to register as foreign agents. Critics argue this could intimidate and silence opposition, reflecting broader concerns of Russian influence. This move has sparked widespread opposition, with many viewing it as a step back for democracy in Georgia, especially given the country's ongoing efforts to join the European Union. The EU and the US have criticized the bill, emphasizing its potential to harm Georgia's democratic process and its relationship with international partners. The stock market in Hong Kong witnessed a dramatic collapse of China Tianrui Group Cement's shares, plummeting 99% in just 15 minutes. This stark drop has wiped out nearly the entire market value of the $1.9 billion listed company. It also raised alarms regarding the financial stability of investors and the broader economic repercussions in the region. The plummet has affected numerous stakeholders, from retail investors who witnessed their investments evaporate to the company's employees who now face uncertainty about their future. The root cause of the crash remains unclear, with speculation around financial distress in the property sector and potential margin calls on loans secured against stock holdings. Hong Kong's market regulators are under pressure to enhance transparency and safeguard investors as fears grow about the broader implications for confidence in the market. In Japan, the debate over joint custody laws reveals deep societal concerns about family violence and its impact on victims. Critics argue the proposed joint custody laws could endanger victims by inadvertently reconnecting them with abusive ex-partners. Demonstrations have taken place with advocates arguing that the system lacks effective measures to protect those affected by family violence. Women disproportionately impacted represent a higher percentage of abuse reports. Allegations of physical abuse backed by photographic evidence and medical reports have been dismissed by the courts, leaving victims feeling helpless and ignored. On the other hand, parents deprived of their children's presence argue the legal system fails to address their grievances or consider the emotional harm inflicted on both children and parents. Communities affected by the World Bank-funded projects in Liberia are seeking justice through the Complaints Assistance Office, or CAO, of the World Bank. Despite presenting their grievances and seeking remedies, including financial compensation and land restitution since 2019, the resolution process has been burdened with challenges. The dispute involves allegations against Sokfin, a plantation company financed by the International Finance Corporation, or IFC, part of the World Bank Group, for causing harm between 2008 and 2020. Attempts at dispute resolution were rejected by the company, leaving the communities without tangible outcomes. The CAO's compliance investigation highlighted substantial concerns regarding the IFC's investments environmental, and social outcomes. As of early 2023, the IFC has failed to submit a required management action plan, delaying the process further. A select number of schools in Senegal are integrating deaf and hard of hearing students into regular classrooms. This initiative has sparked interest amongst hearing students, many of whom are learning sign language to communicate with their new classmates. The move aims to bridge the educational gap for the 60% of children with disabilities in Senegal who are not enrolled in school. Despite the absence of a national strategy for inclusion education and challenges such as societal stigma and logistical issues, steps are being made toward progress. The government's efforts, combined with support from organizations like Humanity and Inclusion, are facilitating the hiring of sign language assistants and promoting inclusivity. However, challenges remain, including the need for more teacher training in sign language and financial constraints on families. Boeing, a major aircraft manufacturer, is currently facing a significant safety crisis after a 737 MAX plane experienced a mid-air panel blowout on January 5th, leading to widespread concern over the safety of the aircraft. Allegations have surfaced from a whistleblower, a Boeing engineer, who claims he faced retaliation after reporting engineering problems and manufacturing shortcuts on the company's 787 and 777, that's hard to say, jets, potentially impacting their structural integrity. This situation has resulted in a halt in deliveries of the 787 jet as the Federal Aviation Administration, or FAA, investigates these serious quality and manufacturing flaws. Boeing asserts confidence in its 787 Dreamliner despite these allegations. The FAA and the U.S. Department of Justice are conducting inquiries into Boeing's practices, examining whether Boeing complied with a 2021 settlement regarding safety oversight. Tesla Cybertruck owners are expressing significant dissatisfaction with the vehicle's performance, highlighting issues that have sparked concern amongst the electric vehicle community. After much anticipation, the Cybertruck, starting at $80,000, was released 2 years behind schedule, only to disappoint with numerous technical malfunctions reported by its new owners. From steering errors and systems failings after just a mile to critical warnings and malfunctioning autopilot features, the issues range widely, affecting the owner's confidence and safety on the road. Critics and supporters alike have taken to online forums to share their experiences, with one owner describing the vehicle as an experimental concept at worst. Complaints also extend to the Cybertruck's build quality, with reports of premature rusting. The Federal Communications Commission, or FCC, has introduced new disclosure labels for home and mobile internet plans, similar to nutrition labels found on food packaging. Starting Wednesday, these labels will be mandatory for all major internet service providers, giving essential information such as pricing, average download speeds, and provider policies clearly and uniformly. This change is expected to demystify the complex array of plans, fees, and promotional rates currently on the market, potentially saving American consumers money. This initiative comes at a critical time as the FCC reports millions of Americans, especially in rural and tribal areas, lack access to high-speed internet. Also, nearly 23 million households are at risk of losing their internet connectivity with the expiration of a federal aid program. The new labeling requirement is expected to improve competition amongst internet service providers, eliminate misleading business practices, and ensure consumers can easily compare internet plans. Meta, the parent company of Instagram, has announced the introduction of new safety features designed to protect teenagers from receiving unsolicited messages containing nudity. This move aims to shield young users from potentially harmful content. The feature, which employs on-device machine learning to discern nudity in images, will be enabled by default for users under 18. Meta's initiative also extends to developing technology extended to identify and warn users about possible sextortion attempts. This response comes at a time when the tech giant faces legal challenges in the U.S. and demands in Europe for better safeguards against content that can adversely impact youth mental health. A recent investigation has linked major clothing brands to deforestation and human rights abuses in Brazil. The report revealed that cotton used by brands like H&M and Zara is sourced from areas in Brazil where illegal deforestation in the Cerrado biome has doubled in the last 5 years. The Cerrado, known for its rich biodiversity, has been severely impacted by agricultural expansion, particularly for cotton and soybean production. The investigation traced cotton exports to Asia, implicating both direct and indirect suppliers in environmental and social violations. Despite certifications like Better Cotton's efforts to ensure sustainable sourcing, the report critiques its effectiveness in preventing such abuses. The implicated companies have responded, highlighting efforts toward compliance and sustainability, while the brands involved have expressed concern and are seeking further investigations. In Australia, safety and employment conditions in the solar farm industry are raising concerns. There have been reports of unqualified workers, including backpackers on working holiday visas, doing electrical tasks that legally require licensed electricians. The Electrical Trade Union has pointed out cases where trade assistants without proper qualifications or supervision performed risky electrical work. Incidents include workers installing solar panels in water, posing a risk of electrocution. Poor working conditions have led to dissatisfaction amongst electricians who feel their safety concerns and expertise are being ignored. The industry is currently facing a significant demand for electricians due to the rapid expansion of solar farm constructions, with 34 projects underway. The union is urging the renewable energy sector to invest in training a new generation of electricians to meet this demand. Also in Australia, retailers and restaurants are facing some tough times, with sales stagnating or decreasing despite lower prices on goods. This downturn is due to low consumer confidence, partially fueled by rising living costs that have households tightening their belts. Recent data reveals Australians are experiencing a level of distress not seen since the 1990s recession. Essential items are becoming the focus for shoppers, seeking to save wherever possible, with discount retailers like the Reject Shop noting an increase in customers, but still experiencing a dip in profits. The National Retail Association highlights the majority of its members are struggling with operational costs, leading to a consideration of closing down.
Tired of being programmed? At United Network, you'll discover the truth about what's really happening on our planet. Get instant access to our written news, UNN newscasts, world situation reports, and in-depth stories from our field messengers. Manifest your amazing abilities as we explore the new Earth, plus original series to inspire and encourage you throughout your day. Get connected through United Chat, our personal chat room where you can join the conversation, share your experience, and also submit your questions for Kim. Watch United Network at home or on the go through your computer, favorite online streaming program, or mobile apps.
Welcome to United Network News.
Start your free trial today. UnitedNetwork.Earth, bringing people together.
And now, the World Situation Report with Kimberly Gogan from the Office of the Guardian. The U.S. government turns to cartels and organized crime groups for money. But can the government perform now that the universal trust is gone? Can government agencies such as the CIA, MI6, and the DEA launder their own illegal trade money? How does this affect the worldwide black market? Find out how the global black market affects your daily life and how a major shift could be a game changer for humanity. Here's Kimberly Gogan with the Office of the Guardian. Hey, Kim.
Well, happy Friday.
We made it.
We did. Not like it means anything, but, we did.
Hey, with everything they had planned, I count my blessings every day.
I know. So. Yeah, it's getting pretty rough out there, though, for them at this moment in time.
Well, let's talk about that. What's going on?
Well, as you know, the yields they were expecting from the solar eclipse didn't work out. They have been trying feverishly to get anything to work, and it's not working. There have been a few operatives that had decided to call upon the Boogaloo Boys. Do you remember them?
Oh my
Boogaloo
gosh.
Boys? Duck Dynasty folk?
Yeah.
They called upon them to create a distraction in the government, meaning they are running around threatening Joint Chiefs of Staff on behalf of the operatives. These are Trump operatives, by the way.
Yeah.
And they have been threatening many embassies, not only American embassies abroad, but also other embassies in Washington, D.C., and their families and their lives. If, the funny thing is the threats don't come with any kind of a punchline. If you don't do X, then we will come get you. Like usually that's how threats work. But in this case, they're not. So everybody has tightened up security. They are, there's a heightened sense of a threat out there, but it's not a real threat. I mean, if Duck Dynasty came to your front door, imagine this little scenario. Well, they now know who it is. And they have traced it back to the operatives that gave the order and then the one behind them that ordered that person. So it was about one step removed from giving the orders. And these people, unfortunately, are used a lot by the right side. So right side of politics.
Right. Okay.
So Republican Party. They are patriots mostly. You could call them a militia, if you remember. I talked about them quite a bit. And they are untrained. Some of them might be veterans, but for the most part, you could call these people untrained. And they just do what they're told. Do this for Trump, do this for, attack the Supreme Court, attack these people, These are the people that birthed January 6th as well, the event that everybody's still talking about to this day. So to give you a general idea, you can kind of see like what happened there, how haphazard they were. The police were actually helping them into the building, over the walls and into the, and it's no surprise that the operatives that ran the Trump administration during that time would have staged a similar type event in Washington, D.C. Now, there really isn't, we don't see any kind of bomb threats or catastrophic event threats or anything for Washington, D.C. or the persons that work within the government that they're threatening. What we see is a distraction because nobody got paid and there is no money.
Okay, so question, because I think it was last time we chatted, you talked about the Trump operatives, I believe, being in Durango trying to get information.
And that's where the orders came from.
That's where the orders came from. So they didn't learn their lesson. They obviously didn't learn too much here. Or if they did, they didn't really apply that knowledge in any positive way. So they took that information and this is the result, is getting the Boogaloo guys involved? That's what they did.
That's in part of the result. The other thing is a huge negotiation they have made.
Okay.
Because they have realized, because we have told them, that we're not supporting getting them back into the White House. And I explained that I know that they were there when I transferred all that money. I know where that money went, and I know that they didn't pay our administration fee or anything else they're supposed to at the time by contract.
Right.
Now, we don't have those contracts anymore, therefore I'm not legally bound to do anything for those people.
Right.
So they came up with another plan.
Ta-da!
And another failed plan, but a plan nonetheless.
Uh-huh.
So we talked about, have discussed at great length about the silent circle and the anti-silent circle and how they've gone their own way.
Yeah.
When they decided to go their own way, they lost access to all of their off-ledger money, which was the Universal Trust.
Right.
Now, the Universal Trust used to be funded by agreement with the Abraxas and Order of the Black Sun. But it has not been funded that way in a long time. However, the functionality of the Universal Trust and its ability to transfer money off the radar, so they're not using, it had its own transfer system. So it's important that you understand how it worked so you can further understand the rest of this conversation. So it had almost like its own version of SWIFT or interbank transferring, which was only known and only seen by them. Therefore, the trust was also used for most of the money laundering and for all black market sales. So, for example, we think of black markets, we think of like human trafficking, we think of drug running, and that is a part of it too, but also black market oil sales, black market gold sales, silver sales, diamond sales. So it was used for a lot of that. Now that system has been cut off. And what has happened is it has left the cartels with no way to get money into the system. Now, the silent circle, ETAL, because now they're kind of one unit all in a bag of trouble over there. The silent circle, ETAL, and the black nobility families used to charge a fee of 35% of all transactions that flowed through the Universal Trust.
Ooh.
Pretty hefty.
Yes.
But part of that money went to pay people like the global headquarters and people that would clear the money. Sometimes it went to agencies. Sometimes it went to, whoever, bankers, whoever they had to pay to make sure that their deposits landed where they needed to go. And no one paid any attention to any kind of compliance or anything like that. So you could actually go in after hours. Some of these cartels that do participate in cash-only transactions, such as illegal drugs and some of those things, and even some oil's done by like that way as well. Suitcases full of cash and that kind of stuff. But they would then show up with a wheelbarrow or pallets or whatever full of cash, and then they would, after hours at a bank, and they would put that money on deposit for them. So the fact that it's been gone now for a couple of months, it's been gone for a little bit since they took a left turn, they have not been able to successfully put money into the bank. And there having been another epic failure this past week, that left the cartels kind of hanging out there. And by cartels, we have a worldwide oil cartel that handles all black market oil sales. We have gold cartels that handle nothing but off-market gold sales. We also have your atypical human traffickers and, illegal drug runners. We also have legal drug runners. So those that, for example, provide opium to the companies that make Oxycontin and fentanyl, and I know fentanyl is synthetic opium, but They have cartels for all of this. So you have a pharmaceutical cartel, and it's not the cartels were formed quite a long time ago, as you know. I mean, it's been a few centuries, probably about 3 or 4 centuries now since we've had organized cartels. But they really ramped up about 1975 when Bush installed the non-compete plan, or implemented the non-compete plan as the Black Dragon, not as president, or not as head of the CIA. So in his other role in life. And every industry that is listed there also has a cartel that runs said industry. So they are responsible for making sure that no one comes out with a better, let's say, no one comes out with a better pharmaceutical drug than they have. You know, they'll do whatever they have to do, economic assassinations, no cures, no nothing, if you are in the pharmaceutical cartel. Wow. And predominantly these cartels have been made of, you know, operatives and those types of things. But you also have a lot of the mafia organizations involved in these cartels too. So just to be clear, I'm not just talking about, you know, human trafficking, drug running, you know, things you see in movies. When you see cartel, you think of a group of people in Mexico trying to, you know, run some drugs across the border or something. Yes, in part true. But this here left the cartels, so to speak, unable to put their money into the system. So they kind of have a little bit of a backlog going on now.
Right.
And this is technically a positive thing. So we talked a little bit about the operatives being released. Well, the cartels are getting together this weekend in a meeting. I think it's scheduled for tomorrow, Saturday. And they are going to discuss what they want to do to go forward. Because somebody else's, namely Trump operatives, which then trickled down to Langley 5 and the Treasury Department and the Secret Service and all these other fine folks here in the country, failed yesterday and also this morning. So they attempted to take some cash that they had in hand, so paper money, and they wrote down or recorded the allocation numbers that are written on the dollar bills and put them on a remote server, and just a few thousand, not a lot, and try to test putting that money into the banking system. Now, they thought we have allocation numbers because there's a number on the bill, and that's how it works. So the deal that the U.S. government proposed, let's start with the deal. The deal that the Treasury Department and the U.S. government and the Trump operatives proposed to the cartels was that they would charge less. They would charge between 20 to 25% and get the job done, and they would launder their money through the Treasury Department.
Oh, how nice of them.
I know, isn't that awesome? So, you know, they're altruistic, you know, we'll charge less. Yeah. So they had, of course, made deals with the Secret Service because, remember, the Secret Service we all think of as presidential protection or Congress member protection, but their number one job is to protect the U.S. dollar. That's what their contract has always been with the Federal Reserve at that time. So they had to have all of these clearance people on board, you know, to kind of look the other way as they started testing these transactions. Now, they planned to do this with super notes as well. They also planned to do this with money that they lost that was in the Universal Trust by using these allocation numbers on the bills. Well, I'm sorry to say, U.S. government, that you don't even know how your own money works, and neither does the Federal Reserve for that matter, because one of you idiots would have stopped this. Because the allocation number that's on bills does not match the allocation number that is digitally registered when a bill goes into the system or comes out of the system. So as an example, we have talked in the past about the banks having a front office, and that's where your tellers are and your loan officers, and that's where what you see when you log into your customer portal.
Right.
So you see your name, Sunny Galt, you see your address and, an account number and money coming in and out.
Yeah.
Debits and credits.
Yeah.
Now on the back side of the server, or back side of banking, you would see, to identify yourself, it's usually it's a form of cryptography. So you might see the first 2 letters of your first name, the first number of your street address, the last 2 digits of your social security number, and it's just a long string of jibber jabber that makes no sense. Well, the same thing happens with allocation numbers. So allocation numbers that have to come from Alpha, where all allocation numbers come from. And those are encrypted. So you see, the number that's out there for the public to see on the bills, told you these people were Duck Dynasty, okay, does not match the allocation number that's registered in the digital system.
Yeah.
And at any given moment in time, if money leaves the system, and they've done this a number of times too, where they're siphoning off of credit card transactions and then they can't put it back in. Now they thought because they didn't have a serial number that matched that dollar, that was, that's why they couldn't get it in. So we're going to use the ones with the real serial numbers from, say, the marijuana industry here in the States where it's legal, in which states? In some states it's legal. Or they could, use the cartel's money, because that's real dollars in circulation. But nope. And I don't know how the Federal Reserve, no one knew. I don't know how the operatives of the Federal Reserve didn't know this. I don't know how the U.S. government didn't know how their own dollars are printed and put into digital form. I have no idea how no one amongst the global headquarter people and all the banking operatives that they have out there and the silent circle, how no one knew that the allocation numbers are encrypted just like your accounts.
Is it possible that they did know, but they just didn't want to get in the way? They're like, whatever, try whatever you're going to do.
I guess so.
I'm just thinking, because you're right. I mean, someone should have known, but if they were just like, it's not going to work, whatever, you said a lot of people look the other way. So maybe they're like, let them fall on their face. I don't care.
Well, I think their thought process was, well, if it works, great. Now we can fund the U.S. government with the 20 to 25%. And the U.S. government would have an income. And then, of course, they can take back the White House and blah, 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 blah. Okay? Using cartel money.
Yeah.
Which, if you remember, back in the day, Mnuchin also borrowed $786 billion from the cartels and never paid that back either. So these people have a very short memory. Okay? Number one, remember, it's been about a decade now, or almost a decade, that I know those people. And I know them through the silent circle. And I met those people in person. They know me. They also knew about the dollar deal, which is now also up for discussion as of this morning. So they knew what was at stake. They knew how I was doing business. They had someone in my inner circle that kind of paid attention to what I was doing the whole time. They knew. They still know.
Yeah.
So now that the U.S. government, what this has done is the leaders of the silent circle that used to charge them 35% in all of their arms and legs, they're like, well, they're not getting the job done. We're not able to use our money. We just lost trillions of dollars when the Universal Trust went away, because these are all cartels worldwide. So now the cartels are having a meeting to discuss the possibility and what is possible if they worked together with us. because no one is getting the job done. Now, I don't want to scare you, but I want you to think about something for a second. Why would talking to the oil cartel, for example, benefit humanity? Now, oil today on the market is somewhere around $90 a barrel of oil, which is approximately, which it's always skimmed off of anyway. They don't ever fill it completely. It's about 42 gallons or so. Black market oil sells for anywhere between $1 a barrel to $25 a barrel. It is the whole reason we have a thing called sanctions. Sanctions have no help, no way, I should say, of stopping a war, stopping a genocide, stopping rogue, quote unquote, rogue politicians or anything. All it does is it cuts everybody in on the market, on the cartel market, on the black market. So everybody's getting their 35%, off the top of that, and everybody's fat and happy because it takes about, maybe 50 cents to actually extract a barrel of oil raw. Then there's the refining process and all that. So if you were to talk to the oil cartels, what would happen to the market price of oil and gas at the pump?
Would drop.
Or natural gas. Yep. So how would this benefit humanity? So, well, 80 to 90% of all of the oil and gas traded in the world is done so on the black market. So what you're seeing, we don't have any shortage of oil or gas at all. Even the sanctioned countries like Russia, still selling, they actually just put sanctions on Russian diamonds, because Russia has a lot of diamonds as well. So now they're just being sold on the black market through the cartels, which then feed the big corporations like Tiffany's, for example. Further measures were put in place to control cartels as well, such as the GIA, the Gemological Institute. So if you want to sell and cut a diamond, it has a little number in it that's in the little, right around the diamond, and they call it your registration number for insurance purposes. But in reality, the Gemological Institute is as shady gets. The Gemological Institute will actually replace real diamonds with fake diamonds. And then sell those out to the people and then keep those other diamonds as value, because they used to be able to they would give them to their own hedge funds or, for example, BlackRock or some of these other large companies, and they would issue credit lines against the diamonds or the gold, And they controlled, so the Order of the Black Sun actually controls the Gemological Institute, all of the hallmarking companies. They don't own them. Allegedly, the Rothschild family owns them, but it's a check and balance to make sure they get their cut and their due. See? So putting sanctions on companies helps feed the black market. So now all Russian diamonds are going through the black market. Now they're still making good money on their rocks, on their oil, because they're sanctioned. Zimbabwe is no different with gold. The gold just goes at extremely low prices, and it goes across the border into South Africa and sold out from there. But the price you pay for gold is now upwards of $2,500 or something like that. Yep. So on the side note, okay, now you have other sides of cartels. You have human traffickers, you have, slavery, sex slaves, you have all kinds of illegal drugs and those types of things. Now, given the fact that we know pretty much what the worldwide industry for these things is, we can automatically assume that there must be a replacement for this. So this is where the silent circle would have been of a benefit to us if we were able to make a deal with them. Because then the cartels, they could have taken the dollar deal. They could have picked up all of this stuff and probably run it better than Duck Dynasty can. I can tell you that right now. And it would have given them an alternative source of income equal to what they're making right now, but in a positive way for humanity.
Right.
They have a lot of routes around the world for moving goods, let's just say, around. That could be of benefit to humanity. There are lots of things I can think of, moving things into war zones, for example, maybe food into Gaza, as an example. So there's a lot of things that can happen if this actually takes place. Now, the silent circle is out. They're completely out. But will the cartels back away because no one is able to get them paid at this point? They are scratching their heads. They have just figured out the U.S. government does not control their own currency. The Federal Reserve does not control the currency. And maybe in part this was a test for them. They're not stupid people. You cannot run around in a gang and be, let's say, you must be resourceful to move things like this all around the world. And, you must know all the routes, where agencies go or don't look, or where the DEA is not, or, all these types of things. So they're not dumb people, but they're just kind of in shock right now. They've figured out the silent circle cannot control things anymore. They're having trouble moving black market goods around and having trouble moving money to pay for said goods. And this also goes for a lot of operatives and agency people too. So is there a problem when they failed today? The U.S. government failed to control their own dollars? Yeah. But, even the Rothschilds tried. They also cut their own deal, and they tried too. And they figured out that they don't control money supply anymore. So again, all roads lead to Rome. Now, what the Trump operatives thought about, because I overheard this conversation, yes, I did, people, you're not the sharpest tools in the shed, and they talked about, well, if they failed, then we could just blame me, for their failure, thinking that the cartels are going to come after me. No. Those people know me and I know them. I'm not saying I agree with all their businesses, but remember, I negotiated with these people in the past, about a decade ago, to see if they would be interested in doing alternative businesses so that we wouldn't have human trafficking anymore. I actually negotiated that. And at the time, we weren't ready. Obviously, there's many other things that have taken place since then. But we don't forget that kind of stuff. I didn't forget that, So it could be a real positive change for humanity as a whole. As far as, obviously ending human trafficking would be important, right? Illegal drugs would be important. The drug industry itself. What if we were able to go to the pump and pay, prices we paid 20 years ago? Less than $1 for a gallon of gas. And what if that price extended throughout the world?
So part of this, hypothetically, because I think a lot of people listening to this would be like, why would we want to give money to people that could use it for bad things? So kind of like what we were talking about with the silent circle. Had something like that gone through, and even working with operatives too, would there be a contingency in place to say you can't use this money, to do X, Y, you can't keep doing this bad stuff?
Well, yes,
that's going to fund that.
Well, remember, they have billions, if not hundreds of billions of dollars in cash right now that they can't do anything with.
Right.
I mean, these are big business, big money.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I agree with this business. even if you've got all the approvals and no one's going to come after them for doing bad things, say, because not all of it's, against humanity, other than the fact that we pay way too much for natural gas, petrol, all this kind of stuff. But the contingency, now what do you do with the hundreds of billions of dollars? Do you need to get that back in the system? Of course they want to get that in the system. These are not super notes. This is actual real cash.
Right.
It's the same thing with the marijuana industry here in the United States where it's legal. They can't put that money into the bank either because it's not federally legal.
Yeah.
So what do you do with hundreds of billions of dollars and you can't get it into the system? Well, you're going to have to negotiate with the person who created, owns, and runs the key integrated monetary system. That's what you're going to have to do. So if you want to put some of this money to use, we will not be paying the U.S. government 20 to 25% because they're worthless. They're not doing anything for that.
Okay, so that would be negotiated. That's part of the agreement to be able to cap.
That's right. If you want to put this money, then you are going to do something else now.
Okay.
At least these people, this section. Okay. And for your oil people, well, we're going to do something else now. I understand you've been lining the pockets of, Shell and Chevron and all those people for all these years because they're getting oil China's getting oil right now out of Iraq and Iran for, I think it's $1 a barrel.
Wow.
Yep. So it's not benefiting the Iranian people. It's not benefiting the Iraqi people in any way. But the politicians get their pockets lined. Remember, 35%, right? So that's your kickback money. They throw out 10% to global headquarters, and then they line their own pockets. But nobody's lining anything at this moment. Right. So they're kind of in a stalemate, and they know it. The operatives too. What about all the black market trading that the CIA participates in, MI6, and none of them can go anywhere. They can't do it in British pounds. They can't do it in euro. They can't do it in US dollars because they don't have the authorization from the key integrated monetary system to do so. So yes, we rejected those transactions. But this also has to do in part with the layer system. Remember, we go down in every place, layer by layer, to give the humans that are involved an opportunity to either fly with a restoration plan and come up with alternative businesses that are in alignment with the health and welfare of planet Earth and humanity, or you don't. And then you're no longer an organization, or pretty much everybody dies until there's no one left.
Yeah. So
you've got a choice to make now on this level. So we're no longer talking to the silent circle. We're no longer talking to the anti-silent circle or the black nobility and trying to convince these people of anything anymore.
Right.
They have now figured out that, well, the only reason why you were really our boss is because we could get all our money put into the system. Mm-hmm. That's why the cartels would join with the black nobility in the first place.
Okay.
See? Now, that's not an option anymore. It's not doing anything. So why are we working for these people? Why are we listening to these people? Why are we still running children around when we shouldn't have to anymore?
Yeah.
See?
Yeah, it's like they're cutting out the middleman, or at least contemplating how do we cut out the middleman because the middleman isn't working anymore. So let's just go.
Well, yeah, and the silent circle actually allowed it to happen, angry about it nonetheless, for them to make a deal with the U.S. government. Because they figured they're going to get their money out the other side anyway. Now, the same thing goes for large cabal-owned corporations like Bayer, as one example. They have been giving money and loaning money to the U.S. government to keep them afloat on the promise that when they're made right, which was supposed to be on Monday, that they will pay them back. So they're draining all of the money that people are paying into all of the we could sit here forever like auctioneers and list all of the corporations that the cabal owns.
Yeah.
Yep. So they're draining them to kind of keep things afloat as well. And by afloat, it's just barely afloat because we are the ones that pay for all that stuff. Maybe you don't because, you're aware of like, I don't want that pharmaceutical or something like that. But for the most part, we in one way or another, we guarantee you that not all of you, but a lot of you put petrol or gas in your car this week, or in the last 30 days, you probably have put gas in your car. Therefore, you have supported cabal-owned corporations. But you can't live without it. If you want to drive somewhere in places where, not everywhere in the world, some places have better public transportation than we have in the States here, but
you're still paying for gas one way or another, whether you're paying for a bus pass or you're going to the gas station or petrol station.
That's right. Exactly. So one way or another, you're supporting their corporations, unless you're living in the woods, in which case you and I wouldn't be talking right now because you also have internet or data service through a cabal-owned corporation. So
yeah,
it's unfortunate, but it is just the way it is. And that was all by design of the non-compete plan.
Sure.
So we'll see what these people do now. Now, the Trump operatives' plan of throwing me under the bus didn't really work out that well because the cartels know it's not me. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm just doing my job, but I'm not going to do it for the U.S. government. And matter of fact, if we could make a deal where you get out of this business, and this business, and we'll replace it with that business, I don't even need to charge you 20 to 25%.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds like a better deal.
I know.
Sold.
Well, it's all about my agenda, right? It's not my agenda. It's the agenda of humanity. I mean, raise your hand if you'd like to continue human trafficking on planet Earth. That would not be anybody listening to this. Mm-hmm. So if there's a way to correct that problem, this could definitely be an opportunity to do that. Mm-hmm. I mean, you've got black market gold, diamonds, silver. What if, we start selling that stuff, lower the market, change things for humanity?
Yeah.
What if we didn't pay ridiculous amount? Because there's no shortage of diamonds on the planet. There's coal everywhere, Yeah. Compressed coal. I can make them in a lab and they're just as pretty. And you wouldn't even know the difference. Mm-hmm. I can make gold in a lab. You wouldn't know the difference. It has the same chemical makeup. It does all the same things, levitates trains, does all, if you've looked up a little bit about monatomic gold, for an example, you can see that people use it with the right amount of voltage and they make the spoon levitate. There's those experiments on YouTube. You can take a look at that. Now imagine being able to do that with a train or an entire vehicle or perhaps an entire craft to go from one place to another. And we've got a lot of minerals, including gold, in the ocean as well. So there's a lot of things that we could float across, using the right technology. We could change the way we live and the cost of things. Part of the reason why the cost of food, at least, pretty much worldwide, but in America has gone up so significantly is because they're charging more to cross the border. Mm-hmm. And then they're paying farmers they're telling farmers in the U.S. they are going to pay them not to farm. If they're getting paid, say, $1,000 for an acre of this or that, then they're promising them $2,000 coming from the U.S. government, and then they never pay them.
Jeez.
Yep.
Yeah. Why are we shipping goods across borders anyway? Anyway, that's a whole other conversation. We shouldn't.
Well, the reason why is there is an agreement, technically, or was an agreement. It's not there anymore. I think it expired over a decade ago. But this particular agreement talked about the fact that the U.S. would eventually convert to a dollar exporter only as it relates to commodities. And food is a commodity. It's listed and traded, a lot of food items, on the commodities market. Mm-hmm. So anything that's pretty much on the commodities market would be traded in dollars. The U.S. would export dollars and therefore then import all of the goods. Mm-hmm. That was the part of the reason. So, yeah. Those $3 avocados, probably that you're buying at the store, You know,
Not
the one.
San Diego, Kim. We got our own avocados.
Yeah. You can just go down to Temecula and get your own avocados, right? And strawberries and everything
I have
else.
my own avocado tree.
You do?
Yeah, I do.
Nice.
But I know what you mean. Like, yeah, I mean, it's crazy in other states what they charge for that. And then they run commercials here for avocados from Mexico. I'm like, why would we do that? What? I mean, I got a tree in my backyard. I don't get it.
Yeah, well, they're trying to stop that too. Like in Oregon, they're trying to pass a law right now where you can't even grow your own produce in your own yard.
Oh, yeah. That's insane.
But I too have an avocado tree. It's just inside.
Oh, yes.
It hasn't produced an avocado yet.
It takes a handful of years, usually. Well, I don't know. Maybe sing to it, Kim, and do some frequency stuff. Electroculture, something. Do something.
Not if I sing, dear. Not if I sing. Oh, no. But I could play some frequencies or something. Yeah, let's see if I can get an avocado.
That works too.
I also have a banana tree.
Look at that.
And a lemon tree. And they all come inside. They get rolled inside in wintertime and spend all winter in here with us. But, you know, it's kind of lovely to have, you know, the life in the house anyway, you know, especially since I know that someday they'll produce something someday. But hey, you know, it's nice to, like I said, have the life, and it kind of gives a better energy in the house. And same thing with, you know, my puppies. So
of course.
They're always here to smile at me and make my day. So, yeah. Anyway, that's pretty much what I see going on. I am 100% positive that these Trump operatives will probably die doing ridiculousness. So I'm pretty sure all of the government knows who they are, where they are, how to find them. Now at this point, you know, I don't know how many are still here, left, living. You know, we'll see.
Yeah.
But this could be, we'll see how this meeting goes tomorrow. You know, I have no idea. You know, are they interested in trying to see if they can pick up the dollar deal? Maybe. You know, that would be well worth it if they were. You know, you have to meet people where they're at. And I know people will say some of those people are doing evil things. Well, there's a lot of people in this world that do what you would consider to be evil things. But they're also very good at moving oil around the world for pennies. Pennies. They can source it from anywhere. They can get it from anywhere. And if I can lower the price of petrol, as one example, for every single human on Earth, you know, there are countries where they pay what we pay for a gallon here in the U.S., they pay for 1 liter.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and even more in places like Nigeria, it's ridiculous. And they produce oil. They got Shell there, you know.
It's horrible.
I know. But that's because they're getting it for free, basically. And then they're selling it back to the citizens, you know, for a price that only the wealthy can afford. So this could be a worldwide game changer. Now, the cost of shipping goods around the world too,
right,
you know, goes down, which means the price to the end user of that box of cereal or whatever it is, you know, that bag of granola or whatever it is you're eating, you know, is going to go down considerably.
Yeah, when you affect transportation, you affect pretty much every industry in some way.
That's right. You do. Every single thing that you have did not, well, not everybody, but, you know, other than the produce that you grow in your backyard, or if you happen to be a farmer and you raise cattle, other than that, pretty much everybody gets it from somewhere else, and it's transported somewhere else. Now, the same thing, they do offer subsidies to farmers in some countries for fuel. Not these people, obviously, but it is done. So there's a possibility to offer even a deeper subsidy, you know, for those in the agricultural industry. So it could be a game changer. But what do you do with the other people? Well, they're just moving stuff. They're working for these other people. They're doing what they've been told to do. They're supplying, there's a demand and they're supplying. But, they just want to make money.
Yeah.
Stay out of trouble. I wanted to make money and stay out of trouble. Mm-hmm. But that umbrella is going away. That umbrella of safety and protection is gone away.
Yeah.
So we'll see what this meeting looks like this weekend.
Interesting. Yeah. I feel like we've kind of been not with the same group, but I feel like we've been in this position before with like the operative, you know what I mean? It's like, don't hold our breath. We won't hold our breath on this, but.
No, and I'm not, but, one thing is clear is that if the black market, okay, let's just say they choose to ignore us, right? Mm-hmm. And they don't want to play. Okay, well, you can clock with an egg timer how quickly the black market's going to die.
Yeah.
Yep.
Could that negatively impact us at all, Kim? If the black market goes away, in theory, what could happen there?
Well, we're still paying ridiculous prices for oil and gas. We're still paying, those companies are not going to lower their price anytime soon for us, for the slaves, If you happen to be addicted to illegal drugs, you might be sad. There'll probably be a shortage.
But as far as, I'm trying to think who this would.
If you're a pedophile looking for a child to do bad things to, you might be sad.
Well, no, I was thinking more about the tariffs and things like that. If they were trading everything on the black market and then that goes away, would they have to drop tariffs? Would they have to do something visually that we could see that would somehow change things if the black market wasn't there?
Well, you do have tariffs, customs, and border patrol is run by the CIA worldwide. It doesn't matter what country you're in. They are the ones that actually run it. Now, they might employ local people, from similar agencies to work there as well, but they're pretty much have been in charge. So the fees that are being charged, and this goes back to the old treaty under the GATT, which has to do with tariffs and transport. It eventually morphed itself into the World Trade Organization back in the 90s. But in the 60s is when they made all those negotiations. Now, they also deemed certain countries as economic zones underneath these agreements, which means that if you are producing, say, pineapples in your dole and you're producing them in Pakistan, which they do, then you won't have to pay any customs and tariffs, and all those fees go away because you are allegedly improving the lifestyle of people in a third world country, is what they say. Okay. Or I hate to use the term third world, but in an underprivileged country. And the intention here was to work within the guidelines that were set forth in agreements at the time in order to get new allocations of money from the Alpha system. It was also in accordance with guardianship and gatekeepership and all of those things they used to have. So, they were technically our guardians, right? They were our parents, for lack of a better term. So therefore, they are supposed to afford us some kind of minimal care. But in actuality, all it really did was, help those people make more money. But customs and tariffs that's a whole nother story as to what we could do with that. But I don't think, well, it could actually, because a lot of these cartels know how to get around all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if they go down, then I'm going to say the CIA is going to probably go broke, completely broke. The operatives won't be making any money either. So they just kind of shot themselves in the foot. Yeah. So they can blame me all they want, but that makes no sense to people with common sense there, Trump operatives. You need to go back to, you should restart that show, Duck Dynasty. Is it still on the air? I don't even know.
I don't know.
So that is the world situation report currently for Friday.
Okay.
I know, kind of short, kind of sweet, but you know, as far as governments and operatives and things that are going on in the world, that's pretty much all that's happened.
There was something
momentous.
that we were talking about on Wednesday. There was like a 72-hour window or something. Can you give us an update on there's some things that had to dissipate going back to what Source is doing now. Is there any update on that situation?
It's going pretty well. Everybody's monitoring it. We have the archivists that are monitoring it as well. Everybody's calculating, you know, quantum physics numbers, how long they think it will take until it's complete. My guess is we're still within that 72-hour window, which would then expire tomorrow. So that's where my money's at, is tomorrow. The main change should be complete. What that means to us, I will let you know on Monday. I don't want to talk about it much right now.
Okay.
But yes, everything is going well. We have had some remnants of things that were slowing it down somewhat. So it was kind of like a push and a pull. It would go 2 steps forward and 1 step back. And then those things are going away rapidly. So we're now proceeding at a better pace. You know, if there's anything else, I'm sure we'll find it, because a lot of stuff that was cloaked and hidden kind of comes to light now.
Okay.
So that's about what we've been doing for the last few days.
Did you find anything else that was cloaked besides what we talked about on Wednesday?
Nothing to that magnitude. We did find some other absolute spheres that were not that were more related to specific things, like antimatter or knowledge, you know, that could only control like one aspect of darkness. You know, if that makes any sense. And there was nobody there controlling it. It was just meant to keep the balance.
Yeah.
So we'll see. You know, we'll see how this all shakes out over the weekend. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
One way or another, you know.
Hey, they should make a song one way or another.
I know. It's by some blonde lady too, isn't it?
Blonde lady. I think it would be a hit.
It could be a hit.
All right.
Maybe it was a hit.
Maybe. Which timeline are we on? Wait a second.
I think I was in like 4th grade or something. I don't know.
All right. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you, Sunny.
Want to share news from UNN? Help us change the face of social media and use it for good. Connect with us through our online channels. Our social media team creates clips from each newscast you can easily share with people you care about. That's also where you'll find our UNN Meme of the Day, a great way to encourage critical thinking. Links to all our social media sites are available at the bottom of our website at unitednetwork.earth. Let's change the face of news together.
And that wraps up today's news update. Please share UNN with your friends and family. We need everyone to come together and help restore our planet. When news happens in your area, record it and share it with us so we can help you share it with the world. Remember, if it's going to be, it's up to me. I'm Sunny Galt. Join us Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for the real news.